What's up, everybody? John English here with Broken Man Video. I just wanted to let some of you guys know, those of you out there that are fathers. This morning, I kind of found out, I'd always suspected, but I found out my son is being, I guess, bullied in school. And he's basically afraid to go to school because of this. And this is an ongoing situation that happened before. In the school here, has a no tolerance policy on bullying, which is pretty much garbage anywhere you go. There is no such thing as a no tolerance policy. It's the same thing as they have a sign out front that says no guns. Banks have a sign that says no guns, but I'm pretty sure most bank robberies are committed with guns. Signs and policies don't change and will not affect the real problem, the real issues. When I was going to school, and I think most of you around my age in your 40s are going to remember back then, kids pretty much are assholes. I mean, there's just a lot of kids out there that, for whatever reason, their upbringing has caused them to be a certain way and treat people a certain way. And it back then there were fights and a lot of kids would handle the situations on their own. Some people say that was a good thing. Some people say it was a bad thing. It's kind of a bad thing when, especially if a kid's not doing anything and they're being picked on for the way they look, the way their social status, their parents being rich or not. It's unfortunate that this has to happen still to this day and age. All these policies that have been enacted by liberals and Republicans alike and the school systems, saying that we have a no tolerance policy with bullying and all that. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked, and it's never going to work. They're never going to do what they have to do to stop this sort of thing going on, because a lot of the kids that do it now, see, back when I was going to school, it was the less fortunate kids. A lot of times it was the bigger guys that maybe didn't have everything that the jocks had, so they tried to pick on people, and they had to I don't know, bring light to themselves in school. Nowadays, it's like the rich kids picking on the less fortunate kids, and schools aren't going to do anything about that because their parents have money and they have influence. Money has influence. Money equals power. That's just the way it is. If you don't know that by now, you're fooling yourself. But anyway, I never really had a very tight relationship with my son, and it's my fault. It's not his fault at all. Really, all my kids, I love all my kids beyond, I can't even think about how much I love my kids. I love them so much. But I end up raising them exactly the way I was raised, which was basically non-existent. I'm not proud of that. I'm definitely not proud of that. My kids deserve so much more. They deserve a better father. They really do. Especially my son. He's never really had anybody to teach him stuff, and I never really had anybody to teach me stuff either. As far as I grew up in Alabama, and it was a very small town, very small school, and you either played football or you went hunting, sometimes both, or you're running around with women or girls. I guess it'd be girls back then. Fast cars, all that drinking and all that. That's all you had to do. That was it. If you weren't in one of those groups, you were an outcast. I was pretty much an outcast, even though I fit in with a lot of different people and tried to fit in with a lot of different groups. I never really felt like I belonged in that school. I never really felt like I belonged in any of the schools I went to. And I think a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that I never bonded with my mother. I never had a real father, and I was never taught to do any of that. I never really had a good family life. After my grandmother died, our family fell apart. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I never really dealt with it, the correct way. I never really had that. And unfortunately, I've passed that on to my kids. My wife does everything with the kids, takes them to family functions and stuff like that. Her family, because my family's not up here. And I don't know how to deal with family. I don't know how to deal with those type of relationships. So I, of course, pass that on to my kids, and I'm trying really, really hard to correct that situation. And I actually got to have a really, really good long talk with my son, and he opened up and told me what was going on. And it was really, really nice being able to have that conversation with him. So hopefully that relationship will grow, and we will, I'll get off my ass, my lazy ass, and do more with my kids and be more involved with their lives versus just hiding in a room making videos and doing whatever, because it really does affect it. And I'm making this video, if you're a parent, if you're a father out there and you think that your presence doesn't count and doesn't help or hurt, or does hurt, your lack of presence does hurt. It does. It hurts. It really, really hurts. These kids need their fathers in their lives. And I didn't realize it. I really didn't realize it. I guess I'm just now discovering it. And it hurts. It hurts because I know they hurt. And that's what really bothers me. It really does bother me. Why am I making these videos? Because it's kind of therapy to me. I really don't have anybody to talk to. Except you guys. Most of my really good friends live far away from here. And the people that I consider really good friends, and this is the only way I can talk to anyone usually. So, and the whole thing behind Broken Man Video is the world is broken. We're all broken to an extent, and until we stand up and realize that we can only correct our problems, we can't. That's what I told my son this morning. You can't fix them. You can't fix those kids. You can only fix yourself. You can only do what you can do to, correct your situation and try to give them the least amount possible to pick on you about. Most schools have no fighting policy, and what it sounds like, these kids are trying to get him to start a fight with them, a fist fight. And I think, most schools now, they end up kicking everybody involved out. I assume, I think. Especially this school, which is kind of an upper class school. I don't know what the backgrounds are of these kids, and I hopefully we'll all be able to sit down with kids, parents, and school administration and get it straightened out, figure out what the problem is. And I told my son, if you're involved, if you're part of the problem, then we're going to fix your problem. But those kids, those parents are going to have to fix their part, or if the school better fix it, one or the other. But we can only work on our situation. We can only work on what we can do. Going in there, I know my wife has already talked about going in like gangbusters and try to do something, but that's not going to help, because we're in the situation now that we're in with him because she got involved before, and there was only a couple students that were doing it. Now, because he went and they got the teachers involved with their no tolerance policy, now there's 5 to 10 of these guys that are, because they're probably all friends, they're probably all well off, they come from well off families, and they just like picking on people for whatever reason. We have to figure out a way to work this out. I think most parents are they've got us so screwed up, and both parents out of the home working, that the kids aren't being raised properly on a regular basis. Then you've got people like me who weren't raised properly, trying to raise kids and don't know how. I don't know how to be a good father. I don't, because I wasn't raised. I didn't have a good father in my life. My stepdad was an alcoholic, and he didn't take me out, teach me how to shoot a gun, and all. I had to learn all that on my own in the military, but he didn't teach me how to do any of that stuff. He taught me how to mix a Jack and Coke. I mean, that he taught, seriously. I was like 12 years old out on a campground drinking Jack and Coke. He thought it was funny. So that's the sort of stuff I had to deal with, among other things. And moving around didn't help. All the moving around we did, I never really had friends that firm planted friends from birth up. There's a lot of people out there. If you have friends and you've had friends since grade school and you've been in one school all your life, you are the luckiest people alive. Trust me when I say that. No matter how your life turned out, you were lucky at least through those years, because I would have given anything to be in that situation. I would have given anything to have a normal family life. That would have been, at the time I didn't realize how important it really was, and now I understand. Now that I have a family, I understand now, and it's almost too late, but it's not too late. I am going to try to fix those problems, and those of you out there that are fathers, let me tell you, if you're afraid to try, if you think that it's too late, it's not. It's never too late. Don't let your kids get to the point where they're so depressed that they end up committing suicide or something, something like that, or going and committing crimes, or just trying to fit in with the wrong crowds, and because they're lonely, they don't have any friends or whatever. Step in. You've got to step in, get involved, because I hate to think what would have happened if I hadn't had the talk that I had with my son this morning. And I'm really glad I did. I love my son. I really do. And just like I told him, I'm going to try to be a better father. That's all I can do is try. And I hope that he tries. And hopefully we can figure out this situation. And if you've got kids being bullied in schools, going in, busting in the doors like gangbusters is not going to help. Maybe try to sit down with your kid and try to figure out what's going on. Because ignoring the situation is not going to help. When you see your kid, they're crying, it hurts. It, sorry, I just, it bugs me that they're hurting like that. And it really does, it hurts deep inside when you know that your kid's hurting. So if you've been through this, again, I apologize. If you've been through this and you have comments, suggestions, or anything, leave them down below. I'm willing to take any suggestions possible. There's just a lot going on, and in the world, and we've got so much distracting us and taking us away from our families that we don't realize until it's too late sometimes. Hopefully it's not too late with us, and hopefully it's not too late with him, and hopefully we can get this situation rectified without going overboard with making the situation worse. That's the worst thing. That's what I'm really afraid of, is talking to school officials and making the situation even worse. Because kids are gonna be kids. The school can't just follow these kids around and watch them the entire time. The kids are still going to bully people, but they don't realize what they're doing. They have no idea. I experienced a little bit of it when I was in school, and it sucks, but I just ignored it. But I never had, none of those kids ever threw a punch. They always made threats, and I just ignored them, and it just kind of, went away for whatever reason. I still harbored feelings about those kids. I still kind of don't like those people to this day, even though I haven't seen them in 20 plus years. But I still have feelings, that if I ever ran into them, I'm not going to be nice to them. I probably shouldn't be that way, but that's how much it affected me. And I don't think these kids realize what they're doing to themselves. I really don't, because parents aren't talking to their kids. And I'm so glad I had that conversation this morning. And hopefully it's a new start to the relationship with my son. And hopefully those of you out there, somebody out there that'll watch this video and understand that you do have another chance. You do have a chance to solve, some of your problems with your kids. Fathers, you've got to get involved. I don't care if you're still married. I don't care what it is, whatever the case may be. You have to get involved with your kids. You have to stay involved with your kids, and do everything you possibly can to help them and guide them, because they need you. They need you. They're not going to tell you, because that's the way the society we live in today. They're told not to tell that they need you, but they do. Trust me, they do. That's pretty much it for me. Hopefully, this helps somebody. I know it helped me. This is kind of my therapy, I guess, of video blog therapy or whatever you want to call it. And hopefully we'll have more to come. And hopefully it gets better. Hopefully I don't have any sad ones like this too many more times. But thanks again, and we'll catch you guys later.